He's also based out from Mumbai. Saurabh. So I
Yeah,
am Amok, more than 2 decades of work experience in role of last 5 plus years. I'm into the agile space. Played a role of as a scrum master, agile coach, and with me Saurabh, who is doing more than around 2 decades of work experience in
you're not audible, Amog.
hello.
Now we can hear you.
Yeah.
We can't hear you, Amog.
Yeah. Now can anybody hear me, Saurabh?
You, yes, now you are, but like it is kind of interrupting between, interrupting a lot of time.
Someone in the network. So now can you hear me?
Sh- Shall I do it? Okay. So Amog, I will start representing it. And in the meantime, it is fine with you. Definitely, you can just kind of jump in between. Okay, welcoming everyone with the session on how we can like why failing in agile so easy. And I am Saurabh Saxena, 16 plus years of experience, core IT guy, somewhere 11 years in agile. When I say agile, then yes, scrum master, agile team facilitator, agile coach, transformation coach, enterprise agile coach. Right now working with Capgemini. Hope I'm audible. Like my voice is clearly, I think. If anyone can show you just thumbs up, I think it will be good for me to understand whether I'm okay. Thanks, Liva. So that's like brief about me. LinkedIn URL is pasted at the end of the slide. You can search me on the LinkedIn, and yes, you will find what I do to the community, how I do, what all I have done so far, the client I have served, the people I have served. Okay. So why agile? Why failing in agile so easy? What we will be covering over here in today's, I think, next 35 minutes. Are we not able to delight our customers? Because yes, we are aware what agile is, how it's to be done, what scrum is, what are different frameworks under its umbrella. So we will be talking about, are we not able to delight our customers, what matters the most for being agile. So we will be also discussing that. And the last one, some scribbles on the post it's to leave you with. So yes, we will be kind of telling you what we should do or we should not do, like kind of, so that we will be more agile in terms of implementing in the organization. Amok, you are there, you want to start, or like from the next slide, if your network is fine now? I can see still you're having network problem. Okay, I will proceed. Fine. So what is the today's reality? We all know what is agile, we all are doing agile, but what is the today's reality, why we are failing? So the first one is people are doing the stand up every day. They are doing the daily scrum. They are doing the refinement, review, planning, retro. And if we talk about Kanban, then their daily meeting, just planning for the day, limiting the WIP, and they are just saying, yes, we are agile. Is it happening? Right? So when the team delivers all of their stories for the sprint, they call it, yes, we planned whether 2 week, 3 week, 4 week, we planned for 2 weeks, we delivered, we are agile. So this is the today's reality. So the other one, maybe you must be laughing, but this is the reality. People think that we have installed the Jira, we have installed the Confluence, and how much time will it take for me to be agile? Even I have the live kind of experience when I kind of coach people. They are telling me that yes, for agile you should be a Jira expert, and I'm like, why you think so? Moving ahead. Okay. So when I was preparing this slide, this was like, yes, we will write the user stories, we will build them in the sprint, then we will deploy them all together at the sprint. And yes, this is the practice I have seen in my kind of 11 years of experience in agile. Yes, people are doing this. They are just having bunch of requirement, they are planning the sprint planning, having some stories for that sprint, and then they are just making them ready, and at the end they are giving the delivery. Is it make us agile? Okay, we will discuss. I am certified, so now what? So we are having a lot of kind of authority right now, the certification authority who provided the certification after attending some training or maybe followed by some exam, and then organization are putting too much of cost in that, and people are like, yes, I'm a certified scrum master, so now what I have to do? And can I handle a team? Can I manage a team? And the last one in this question to my leaders: am I allowed to fail? Because this is the biggest reality where you are not allowed to fail. If you will fail, then there are many or different consequences. Okay, moving ahead. So this is something, a picture which I like most, and my favorite slide, I will say, the scrum master that the team needs, the strong person having a good hands-on the scrum, and should be able to protect the team, guard the team, should be able to facilitate the ceremonies and many things. But what actually organization are investing on the scrum master? Is it right or not right? This is the, I think, the reality where what we need as a scrum master to drive the agile culture, scrum culture, of any kind of any framework, safe or your XP, your Kanban, but what actually we are having. We will talk more in detail. Okay. So, are we not able to delight our customers and users instead of just doing this one by one? Regularly, we track the metrics like velocity, burn downs, productivity, planned versus actual hours. We have a Scrum Master who facilitate all the Scrum ceremonies, events without failure. We have a detailed planning session to the level of subtasking each and every committed story. We have a product owner acting as a client representative and directing us on which story to work on. And side by side, yes, there is a scrum master diligently runs behind every team member. Please complete your story. Please complete your tasks. Please put hours. Please go put all the details, and please change the status to done, like during the sprint review and during the kind of sprint demo and all. And yes, we have a rock star developer in the project as well. We do award, we do add all kind of team building activities, having a rock star developer in the project. And also, is it something, I ask you then, why we are not getting the aspired result? We are agile, we say that we are agile, we do all these things which is mentioned, maybe when you go with your scrum training, maybe when you go with any of your agile trainings, any blogs, then these things are mentioned. Then still why we are not getting the desired result? So the question is, the most important question of today: are we just doing agile and not being agile? And there's a huge difference that I'm going to explain you. We learn that yes, you can install Jira, you are agile, you are expert in Confluence, you are agile. I am doing the daily scrum, I am agile. Am I allowed to fail? If no, then there is no agile culture at all. That's what I'm going to talk in the upcoming slide. Okay, so here you go. So we have, so there are two sides of this slide. One side, on the right side, yes, we have different practices that we do: XP, DAD, SAFE, Scrum, Kanban, and there are many more if we go in detail. And the left side is your agile mindset, your 4 agile values, your 12 agile principle, and agile practices. Just give me a moment. Just give me a moment. Yeah. So doing agile can be done in practices, including implement stand-up meetings, user stories, iterations, etc. Being agile is the more about the mindset, understanding the organization culture, such as being self-managing, what to value and how to behave. Agile is the most common buzzword. If you are reading, kind of, if you are here, if you are listening to me, there is a 99.99% chance that you have learned, or maybe at least these words which I am going to tell right now. You must practice agility. We heard it a lot. We are using agile methodologies. Agile is not workplace. Agile is being implemented. We are an agile organization. You may use one of the standard framework, modify them to fit your need or gap, not use a framework at all. So it's like flexibility on you. You are agile if you prioritize the items mentioned in the agile manifesto. You are not agile if you not incorporate Scrum or Kanban but lose sight of these 4 targets. Doing agile can be done in practices, including implementing a stand-up meeting, user stories, iteration. I've explained to you. Doing agile is only tip of the whole agile pyramid. And principles and values of agile are more difficult to implement, which is being agile. If you ever read the manifesto for the agile software development, you would know that being agile is deeply rooted in the 12 principle of agile software. It means the value and the principle are intertwined to create the mindset of being agile. So compare doing agile to, yep, any questions anyone has?
听得清楚吧？我的老咚咚咚咚咚咚咚咚咚咚。
Okay, fine, I will move.
过滤。
Compare doing agile to being agile. Three main aspects distinguished one from each other. The first one, doing agile can be achieved overnight, but being agile is a journey. Second, doing agile is easy, but being agile is difficult. The last but not the least, doing agile satisfies the management while being agile defines the agile culture. Okay, when you and your team try to be agile, you have to check the following and see whether you have done that. So that's what I am going to explain. Adopt an agile leadership, provide strategic direction and guidance, collaborative and cross functional teams, deliver value fast, feedback loops for continuous improvement, embrace change, innovation and learning. And then yes, the last one is the cultural change. Okay, so this is all the being agile part, your mindset, your 4 agile values, your 12 agile principles, and the your doing agile part is the practices. Like we have tons of practices right now. So the most important is you have to be agile rather than the doing agile. The doing agile, yes, we can obviously achieve overnight. The question is still open. What the heck is an agile mindset, anyways? Because people are kind of confused. What is agile mindset? How I can be being agile? I am doing agile from the very first day in the project. I am doing all the ceremonies. I am using Jiva. I am using Confluence. Or what actually the being agile is? Okay, so this something you must have seen over the kind of any multiple blogs over the Googles, LinkedIn's. We have tools and processes in place, like I talked about Jiva and Confluence. We have practices in place, like yes, we do practice either Scrum, either Kanban, Safe, DAD, XP, and all, and many more. We have principle, we have values, and we have mindset. The more visible and less powerful is your tools and process, and the more powerful and less visible is your mindset. I'm going to talk in detail. So tools and processes and practices, this can be adopted in command and control environment also. Value and principle requires organizational and cultural change. If you have read the Agile Manifesto, the 12 value principle and the 4 values of manifesto, it says that yes, it requires a cultural and organizational change. And the last one, the mindset, move towards a learning organization. The most important is mindset again, and we do a great job on the tools and process part. When it comes to practice, yes, we do good here from the very first day. When company and when any organization announce, yes, we are now agile, let's plan sprint, let's plan scrum ceremonies, let's have scrum master, product owner, and we start doing any kind of framework which we are used to. We struggle a bit here. People are known to principle, but yes, they struggle because of cultural difference, maybe the priority, or maybe their previous culture in which they have worked. And yes, there are many challenges. So like if I mention the principle number 5, the most kind of the productive team sits in a room, and yes, you can have, I'm not having it like ready exactly the what the word says, but it is like yes, the most organized and the productive team sits in a room and work together. And the 11 number says if you want a kind of detailed or something, the architecture or for defined architecture, it should be come from the self-organizing team. So but we struggle over here. Sorry. And yes, we falter a lot on the values part and mindset. We even don't know, like we are yet to figure out, I will say, what exactly the mindset is. The agile mindset essentially is a movement away from traditional bureaucratic leadership, which can involve office politics and whoever is loudest is right mentality. So I'm using these words because yes, this is what is happening. And if it is like kind of going in the right direction, you will have your agile mindset. Instead, the agile mindset has teams put aside ego, the focus on what is right instead of who is right. An agile mindset is set of attitudes supporting an agile working environment. These includes your respect, collaboration, improvement, and learning cycles. Pride in ownership, focus on delivering value, and the ability to adapt the change. So why mindset is important in agile? With an agile mindset, organization can adapt to face all challenges, from shifting market needs to a complete transformation of the business world. By adhering to a positive attitude towards changing perspectives, companies can remodel their culture to encourage collaboration and innovation without fear of failure. Although not easy to define, an agile mindset consists of having these traits, which I am going to explain. Viewing setbacks as learning opportunities. Is our team empowered to experiment and be creative? Do they have the freedom to be innovative without fear? Is taking risk a team norm and not a rebellious endeavor? The second is embracing iteration, collaboration, and change. So, iteration, room for improvement. Anyone can propose a change or idea. Collaboration, nurturing a culture of trust and communication. No room for big silos. Last one is change. Change is the only consistent development ability to adapt to unpredictability. Focusing on delivering value, not output. Be outcome driven, not output driven. So there's a difference between output and outcome. Value, not easy to define. Explore ways to define and measure it. Customer centricity, being empathetic to user needs. So I'm going to give you 7 steps to achieve the agile mindset. The first one is review the Agile Manifesto and its 12 principles. Define the organization clear goals. Focus on the customer. Practice critical thinking. Learn to communicate and collaborate. Be transparent. Stay humble and reflect. Moving next. So this is again related how we can obtain an agile mindset. We have to make sure that people are not resources. The word resource get used without a second thought to mean pupil. It's so pervasive and normalized that I have heard myself slip into using it. I intend to continue refusing this inertia. Resources, if you stop and think about it, it is terrible way to speak about pupil. A resource is something you take and use, apply to pupil. It carries dismissive and devaluating undertones. So resource is something which is like kind of I should say not having any soul. So for pupil we should not use the resource word. As we speak, so we are. Our language reflects our underlying beliefs, whether conscious or unconscious, and that speaks louder than word. Resource carries an implicit message that people are not individually valuable; they are replaceable unit of function. And hence, the focus is we should use the word team, team member, associate rather than yes, I need 6 resources, 10 resources, I have 6 resource in my squad and all. We should avoid using it. This is what again about agile mindset. The second is autonomy includes ownership. Ownership is being committed to and proactive about a goal. Responsibility and accountability are about knowing and carrying that others depend on you to own a goal. Autonomy is the liberty to act and make decision in the scope of a goal. So when we give ownership, when we give autonomy or when we give responsibility, what happens? The team boost productivity and scale well. The team support motivation and engagement. Team stimulate professional growth and seniority. And yes, in the last, they also provide good team culture. Moving to psychological safety, why it is important? Psychological safety in the workplace is important because it enhances employee engagement. When team member feels safe at work, it's easier for them to participate in a meeting, problem solving, collaborating on projects, and engage with their customer and peers. And how we can like kind of this culture of psychological safety, we have to promote self-awareness, we have to demonstrate concern from team members as pupil, we have to actively solicit questions, provide multiple ways to for employees to share their thoughts, show value and appreciation for ideas, and promote positive dialogues and discussion. This is something, nothing I am saying like is not achievable. It is achievable. It is something, yes, we have never think of, or maybe our cultural boundaries, or maybe any previous model which we have worked on is stopping us. Learning culture. A learning culture is a collection of organizational conventions, values, practices, and processes. These conventions encourage employees and organization to develop knowledge and competence. An organization with a learning culture encourages continuous learning and believes that system influences each other. So why is a learning culture important? A learning culture is especially important in our current climate because it helps organizations be sensitive to change in their external environment. Be aware when there is a disruption and take action quickly across the whole organization to ensure survival or growth. So there are 20 ways which like I felt are important. There could be many more which I'm just giving you idea. What could be the 20 ways to improve organization learning culture? First, examine your current learning strategy to find learning gaps and weaknesses. Plan what you need and want, what your employees want to learn. Empower subject matter experts. Ask employees what they want to learn. Make training easily accessible. Ensure learning is a top priority from day one. Set aside time to learn. Experiment with learning methods. Create a library of resources. So resources not here the team. Resources is your books, your journal, your kind of any trainings or any kind of web portal you use for the training. Integrate learning into day-to-day life. Make it social. Make learning fun. Promote learning. Make a habit of knowledge sharing. Make it on demand. Reward learning. Keep it continuous. Link in leadership. Give feedback. And the last one is measure and adapt. So most important. Values and principle, we are already aware, we discussed, like yes, the value and principle plays a most important part if you are going to adapt a strong agile culture. The value, if I talk, which is mentioned, so five core values, which like again based on my experience, my understanding, the organization which I have worked and which I follow, like in terms of value, so that those values are not the agile values and principles. The values: integrity, know and do what is right; respect, treating others the way you want to be treated; responsibility, embrace opportunities to contribute; sportsmanship, bring best to all competitions; and the last one is servant leadership, serve the common good. Amok, you want to take it further?
Yeah. So I'm back. Yeah. Thanks, Saurabh. Uh, so can you go to the next slide? So I think we have covered most of the part. I will just summarize what are the next steps, or what we have with respect to the why normally agile transformations are getting failed. So the first and foremost, sort of. So can you? Yeah. So normally we compare velocity with other teams. Normally velocity is one of the agile matrices. Normally each team tracks. So normally it happens normally that once my velocity, we should not compare with another team's velocity. Why? Because each team member is having different kind of skill set, mindsets, and all those things needs to be always needs to be considered. If we start considering why other team's velocity is more, why my team's capacity is less, you should never compare. And because of that, the competition happens, and normally the moral of the team for which the velocity is less, they have a lot of impact. So we should never try to compare the velocity within the team. Yes, it can always be an encouragement so that other team can strive to achieve, but if you start doing comparison, there will be less, will have a lot of issues or challenges to achieve the further, and it will directly impact on your moral basically. So this is the one of the point. The second point is the sprint zero. Normally we see in scrum we do not have sprint zero kind of thing. We normally have sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint 3. Normally I have seen in my previous agile transformations wherein normally sprint zero we consider for all doing prep work, analysis, all those things normally we do, which is never is the practical case. Normally directly we start with the sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint 3, sprint 4, and or chase or train such go on. Normally we call in safe, we call release train. Normally like the each sprint which will normally go from sprint number 1, 2, 3. Never there is no call sprint zero. Okay, not limiting WIP. WIP is basically a terminology came from Kanban, which is also one of the agile framework. Normally, if you're seeing a Kanban board, normally there is always we have to WIP the limit. Why? Because Kanban is a continuous flow of application, continuous flow where normally we use the Kanban methodology. Normally, if you're seeing a Kanban where on top of each Kanban, we normally keep a limiting a WIP limit. WIP limit is always keeps a track that how many items can one team can able to take it. So assume I do have 5 Scrum team members, and there is a one critical item which needs to get get fixed. So I will ensuring that I will have a limiting the WIP so that my team will not get distracted. So there is always, we can, by implementing the WIP limit, our the velocity or the morale of the team will not get impacted. So the WIP limit is one of the very good, beautiful feature which Kanban promotes. And normally, if you are seeing the normally in any of the tool which you use, the Microsoft Team Foundation server, or if you go to the Jira, we see all the columns wherein to-do list, and normally we mention on the top a number which ensures that that is my WIP limit. More than that, I'll not able to pull from my uh, from the from my input stream or source stream. So that by that my team capacity will not get overburdened or something. Okay. So next is the time box is not this, but this is the most commonly, anti-pattern which I can say. Normally I have seen the daily scrum, okay, which is going beyond the 15 minutes and more than that, because we have to respect the what is the time, because every individual time we are working on agile projects needs to get respected. On that basis, the overall capacity, overall timelines, all or overall the work, what we are going, stories which are going to deliver as from the story point perspective will get decided. If we if we not follow the time bound, it always have an impact, because normally people love to follow all the activities which are defined in the time frame. If we not do this, it will have definitely impact on the team work culture. So I have seen the transformations wherein the normally sprint planning, what we used to have 1 hour of time frame, it is to have more than 2 hours. So then it loses the interest of the team. So as a scrum master, that is very much important to ensure that we have to respect all the time bounds, our sprint ceremony. 15 minutes is a quite decent time which has been for the daily standard. Okay. Next. Yeah, scrum ceremonies are cancelled because of no agenda. This is the very one of the very good session observation wherein, normally we do not know what is the agenda of the any of the scrum ceremony. If we're having the sprint demos, so we don't know which are the user stories which will get demoed. Sometime it has happened in my experience. The product manager was never aware, or product owner was being his proxy product owner, he was not aware which are the user stories which were planned in the upcoming sprint. Same with the daily stand-up meeting, wherein normally it was become more kind of status report, wherein the basically the culture or the organization culture and the people were not aware what was the agenda of that particular the ceremony. So we do have retrospective also, right? We have sprint retrospective. The agenda of the retrospective needs to get shared well in advance. What we need to do in each agile ceremony needs to get clearly informed to all the stakeholders, so that the purpose of that ceremony will get achieved. Next. Okay, this is one of the problem which we normally observe. Normally, one product owner, normally I have seen in my previous engagement, wherein we do have proxy PO, wherein the main product owner is not available and another product owner normally comes, and where the example which I had given you, the main product owner was not there and proxy owner was there, and he was not in the agenda of the backlog refinement. So he normally comes and he asks the questions which are not relevant, and normally all the agile ceremony will go on to the time frame which we normally fix. So that is where the proxy PO, proxy, all these are all buzzwords which needs to get stopped to have a good fruitful results of any agile transformation projects. Next. Yeah, so basically for any of the user story, we do not have definition of ready or definition of done. Normally what is happening in whenever we start in user story, we should be know what is the definition of ready, and we should be know what is the definition of done. Without this, we'll not able to start any project or basically of any of the user stories. So without knowing how the user story will get completed, we should have a DOD should be there. So DOD can be in terms of functionality, DOD can in terms of non-functional requirement, all those needs to get properly documented, so that we should have a clear picture what exactly we have to achieve, and definition of ready should be there before start of the any of the sprint. So these are the two very critical items which we need to consider. Without that, many agile transformations have failed miserably because they were not knowing what is the definition of done was not there. So as a Scrum team member, he was not knowing what is the expected output because DoD was not clearly documented in that the tool they are using at that time, Jira. It was not properly documented, and because of that, the sprint goal was getting failed. Backlog is not prioritized. This is the very much important where the product owner plays a critical role. Normally, sometimes if you see the example wherein if the proxy PO is there, normally if he does the backlog refinement, if he doesn't know what are the business priorities and how we can able to pull the request from the product backlog to the sprint backlog, then entire business value of the any agile transformation, the user stories, what are the features, what are the epics which are very much important, needs to get prioritized, and only those priorities, features or user story needs to get pulled into the product backlog, and individually from product backlog it should come to the sprint backlog. If will not give a prioritization for all the features or user stories, most of the agile transformations lose the luster basically. Why? Because the business is expecting feature one, and if we are delivering the feature number two which is not adding any value, then we'll say the agile is not delivering the value. Okay, so next is, so guys, we'll take all the questions later, okay, once this session is over. Okay, next is comparing story points with ours. So this is still happening, guys. Team members are using story point estimations, which is a relative estimation, with the traditional waterfall model wherein we used to do all but in 8 hours. So normally I have seen in previous engagement wherein one story point is equal to 8 hours, which is wrong. Why? See, any of the user story will say it will deliver in X. So another user story which is twice big, it will be 2X. Story point doesn't have any unit. It is not in hours or something. Story point is a story point. So normally for any story point estimation, we have to use the sprint planning. We do a lot of planning poker game, that those can be used. But please be informed that we should never compare story point with any of the hours or any of the unit. We should never use, because story point is a relative estimation. Next is SM leading the facilitator of the any what are the sprint facilitator, all the ceremonies, then the luster will get lost, because he is to Scrum Master needs to facilitate the events. He needs to ensure that agile principles are being followed. But if he start the start chairing all those meetings, then we will say the project agile transformation are getting failed, because we are not respecting the role of individual Scrum Master, product owner, and Scrum team. So similarly, we have to respect what Scrum Master has to do, wherein the overall organization also needs to think how they have role in any of the transformation. Next, yeah, daily Scrum as a status meeting. So this is you must have, this is one of the most biggest anti-pattern which I have seen, wherein normally I have seen in previous engagements where the customer who was their product owner who used to ask the status, why this activity has not been done, why it is taking this much time. And this is where the entire we are never is a status report meeting. It is a stand-up meeting. We have to respect that it is only what are the list of activity which we have done yesterday, what are the list of activity planning to do, and what are the list of any impedance which we have. So these are the only, so within 5 members team should not take more than 7 to 8 minutes maximum to give the updates. And preferred option is to show within the which if you any of the tool which are using Jira, which these are the user stories, and that will give a clear picture. But if you start doing as a status reporting, it is a biggest mistake that any agile transformation are doing. And where he has to ensure that he has to respect where the overall coaching and needs to be done to all the stakeholders. No product vision. So this is also one of the biggest problem, which is kind of correlated to the backlog. So whenever we are starting any agile transformation, we do have product vision. That product vision needs to get divided into the epic features and user stories. Without product vision, if I need to develop a team application, and if I do not have product vision, what are my top level epic, what are the top level features, and feature needs to be divided into user story, the entire lackluster of the project. So we don't know the vision, and we are going, if I need to go from west to east, and without vision, if I'm going, I will reach to somewhere in south. So that is not going to help us anyway. And then we should not treat the agile is not helping, because we are going directionless and we are blaming the framework. And I think last point, if I'm not wrong, yeah, the organization culture and agile practices. So normally any of the agile transformation to be successful, the overall organizational culture is also needs to be have with agile mindset. I think Saurabh has booked locked in good terms what are the agile mindset we do have. So our organizational mindset also needs to be agile to work to be a successful any of the agile transformation. I have seen the organizations where they do not have agile mindset and they are still in a traditional waterfall mindset with the command control mindset is there, wherein we still do lot of micromanagement. All these thing mindsets, they are not changing, and they are just for namesake doing agile transformations, and it creates a lot of problem within the morale of the team, and it definitely will not deliver the business value to the organization for which we are working, and also definitely for the stakeholders. So that's it from our side, guys. I think Saurabh, we do have a lot of questions in the chat. I will take one question at a time. So I think there is a first question we have received from Michelle. Can you please elaborate the difference between the outcome driven and output driven?
Michelle, see, this is okay. Just giving a brief. So this is not the like this question is maybe out of the agenda, I will say. But in brief, if I will say, kind of output driven and outcome driven. So when you are having your sprint planning meeting, your output will be your sprint backlog, and your output will again be your kind of sprint goal, but the outcome is your definition of done, which you are achieving at the end of the sprint. So this is some maybe the different I can tell you at this now.
Okay, thank you. Michelle, is your queries been answered?
Yes, that's perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I think we do have another question from Sylvia. She wants to have a clarity on slide number 7, or 7 ways to improve agile mindset. Sorry, no, not from Sylvia. It is from Oluorunke. From the 7-point slides not shared. Please share. So I think Olunke, are you there?
Okay, I
Yes,
will be
I'm here.
putting
Yeah, it wasn't shared. The screen didn't update with it.
no, so screen was not up to date. I was just talking as per my knowledge. I will just put it on the chat. Give me some time. Maybe we will move to next question, and I will be putting it to the chat itself.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Olunke. Thanks, Saurabh. So we will take the next question. Okay. It's from any other questions, guys? Okay. There's a question. Are we suggesting we need a sprint 0 to prep ahead of sprint 1? So Michelle, basically there is nothing like sprint 0 in Agile. Okay. There is nothing like a sprint 0. Normally we expect that whenever we are starting a sprint 1, wherein our team is having all the required knowledge and everything, all the definition are there. Normally in back of the mind, people still do, but there is nothing like a sprint 0. Okay. Sprint 1 is the start of the sprint. Sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint 3, sprint 4. Normally, before starting any of the, if you'll go with the traditional waterfall model, we used to have a project kickoff meeting, project charter is to create, everything is to do. Same thing, Scrum also, basically Agile projects also, if I have worked in Scale Agile framework. So normally we used to have also a product vision and everything. So all those things needs to be done in an individual product PI. So all those things can be done in a PI, where in sprint 1, we used to have all the PI planning meeting where we used to define the product vision, what are the list of epic we need to deal, what are the list of features we need to deliver. All those needs to be done prep work in a respective agile ceremony, not on a sprint 0 or something, where we'll discuss everything. But there is nothing like a sprint 0. Have I answered your question, Michelle? I think Michelle, are you there?
Awesome. That's great. That's great. Because I was thinking we started sprint 1. I thought we needed sprint 0. Awesome. I got confused. Thank you.
No. There is nothing like sprint 0, Michelle. There is nothing like a sprint 0. Michelle, Scrum through, there is no Scrum 0 as per Scrum Guide. Yes, I think Saurabh has already answered that question. Thanks, Orbin. What's best practices to start? Any other question, guys? We do have still 10 minutes to consider complexity of the work. Okay.
Oh yes, I wrote down.
So any
a
question, guys? Any other queries or question?
I was laughing and crying during
Then who is this?
your guys' talk, but because you mentioned so much true things on agile work. So what we heard by Saurabh was we need an agile mindset, and we should not focus on practices and frameworks and tools, but your anti-patterns you show among these are extremely focused on practices and tools, and I think we need a shift. You are totally right. I agree. These are many anti-patterns you see, but I think the right way is to go back to the mindset, as we saw on the onion model.
Absolutely. So these are all video, and then we say this framework is not helping us. Here, as rightly mentioned by Saurav, my colleague, that the mindset needs to get changed. If you have a good agile mindset, all will things into all, and if you follow all the agile principles and manifesto, all will fall in. And we should always, this is what I have learned, frankly speaking. I've been very open. When I moved from traditional waterfall model, I'm doing waterfall traditional project management for since more than 10 plus years before I moved to the agile. First time I failed. I was scribbling, agile. Why so agile? Waterfalls we are delivering, but more learning, we get a lot of opportunities. After each sprint, we learn something and learn from our mistakes, and we should go ahead. What we should do, we are human beings, we are not God. We can do the mistake, so we should always learn from the mistake, and we are a human being, can do another mistake, but we should not same mistake. That is where our learning, good point which I learned from Agile coach, where it is in my mind since 2014. Today, after 7 years, I'm still using this statement of my Agile coach, and it's a good learning which I use basically in my life. We are human beings, we do mistake, but we should learn from the mistake and go ahead, and don't do the same mistake. Any other question? Any other questions?
I had problems to understand you, but Saurabh, did you get my message?
Yes, Levi, I understood your message. So what, just correct me if I'm wrong, if my understanding is wrong. What you were telling about, yes, so like we should focus more on the mindset, and yes, if I cover your answer, which like I want to give you, if we will focus more on the mindset, the doing agile part, which automatically comes in.
Yes,
So I'm
and
not so
yes.
just give me 1 minute, please. So I'm not saying that you should be agile, you should not do agile. You are doing agile from the very first day. You have tools, technology in place, you have values, you have principles, you have practices. But I am very stubborn guy, and I feel no, I don't want to make my things transparent. I don't want to respect my people. I don't want to be open. Or maybe I will say I don't trust my team member. So is this making us agile? No. So the more you be agile means you will be open, you will trust, you will respect. The doing agile part of it automatically comes in. So that's like what message is all about. Yep, you can continue, Sylvia.
Yeah, and so maybe there are tons of other anti-patterns we have not talked about, but I don't like these anti-patterns, and I know they lead to worse habits and so on. But I think the energy really should be put on the mindset, because if you have a sprint zero, it's bad, but it's not a nightmare. It's a nightmare if you're not transparent.
Uh, so that so see, I think I wrote on the chat, even I will highlight it again. So you have agile kind of mindset with you, you have different frameworks with you. Organizations can customize as per their need, and they are doing it. But as per the scrum guidelines, there is no concept of sprint zero. The first day when you are doing your planning meeting, it is sprint one. You want to call it n minus 1, you want to call it 0, you want to call it anything, it's totally depend. So again, this is the doing agile part, this is not the being agile part. If there are certain standard defined, there are certain practices defined, so if you follow it, then follow it fully. So there are two things again: we are agile or we are like agile. So we are agile means yes, we do sprint 1 2 3 4 5 6 10. The like agile is we do sprint 0 also, we do sprint n minus 1 also. And you rightly said there are thousands of things which you will find if you will read off the blog as well. Is there any other question we are expecting, Sylvia? Hope I answered your question what you are looking.
The being agile part was a little bit short, but we did this as a crowd together. Someone found the blog, and we have the 7 points.
Yes. Yeah. You're right. Absolutely. Okay, so the most important slide has come. Thank you very much for giving us such opportunity and bearing me and Amog for the last 53 minutes, if I say. And we both are reachable on our LinkedIn. You can connect with us. I'm open to any connections. I help them. Amog is also like one of my connection, and we do interact with each other. So with anyone, like you can reach me, you can reach Amog with your any query which you have regarding this session, or maybe with any of your query related with the transformation going on in the organization.
Yeah. So any other question? Okay. So I
Okay.
think thank you very much everyone for joining this. Stay safe and have a great day ahead. And good evening to from people who are joined from India, and good afternoon, good evening again to everyone. Thank you very much. Stay safe. Cheers. Bye. Thanks.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Bob.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Suram.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.